People are telling me 25 male that my girlfriend 25 female cheated on me. So last month, my 25 male girlfriend 25 female of 2 years got asked to go on a cheap vacation with a group of people she kind of knows. She's friends with 2 people in the group, and they were going to get a discount if they had 10 people to go on the trip. It was a 10 for 8 discount, and basically 2 people would go on the trip for free, but their friend group had only 9 people, so they asked my girlfriend. She didn't want to go, but her friend pressured her, saying that she's never left the country before and it would be fun. She caved and went on the trip, and she hated it. Like, she would call me to do nothing but complain about the activities in the group, which I understood because the planned trip was all stuff my girlfriend hates. Scuba diving, she's afraid of the ocean, hiking for a day and a half, she doesn't like camping, going to parties, she has sensory issues, being a slut on the beach, which is what she called the day she spent watching the other 9 girls flirt with everything and everything that moved and other stuff. She's introverted, and I can count on my hands the number of times she leaves the house in a week, including taking out the trash or going grocery shopping. She works from home as well, so she doesn't have to go to the office. She came back about 2 weeks ago, and the day before yesterday, I got a text from my sister, 26 female, saying that we needed to talk. I met her yesterday and she told me that my girlfriend cheated on me on the trip. Apparently, one of the girls felt guilty and told my sister, who's friends with her. According to this girl, my girlfriend went clubbing with them, had 10 shots, got drunk, kissed a guy, went to the bathroom with him, did a line of coke off his and then proceeded to have with at least a dozen different men. And guess what? My sister apparently got video evidence of this. She showed me a crappy video in 360p of a girl with the same hair color and build as my girlfriend riding some black dude while off 3 others and saying they were so much better than her boyfriend. It was like watching some weird cuckold porn, and I was mystified. The quality of the video was so horrible that for all I knew, it could be Lana Rhoades in it. And none of the actions of that night described my girlfriend. The clubbing. She hates the sensory overload from the loud music and flashing lights. She would never go to a nightclub. 10 shots. My girlfriend is a lightweight that can barely function after 3 cocktails. If she had 10 shots, she'd probably be dead. Not to mention that she hates the taste of alcohol and only drinks fruity cocktails. Coke. So apparently my girlfriend got blackout drunk and also decided to do hard drugs. That makes no sense to me. Sleeping with a dozen men. She's a little nervous when having vanilla sex with me, so unless the liquid courage and coke did 180 to her personality, she would never agree to a gangbang. And this apparently took place on their last night there. Wouldn't she have a horrible hangover, not to mention whatever the equivalent of a hangover for coke? When I picked her up from the airport, she was so fresh and happy to see me. In contrast, all the other girls looked like zombies. There were more holes in the story than Swiss cheese, but my sister was so insistent that I just told her I'd talk to my girlfriend to get her to leave me alone. I went home and said that people said you cheated on me, and I'm confused why, and she was just as confused. She said none of that ever happened, and she spent the last night there in her room on her laptop. She wanted to get a good night's sleep before the flight since she finds it hard to sleep on airplanes. And one other important factor is that she was cheated on in her previous relationship, and she told me a long time ago that she would break up with me instead of cheating because no one deserves to go through something like that. I believe my girlfriend, but it's my sister who's telling me this, someone I'm incredibly close to and trust. If her friend came to me with this story, I would likely have laughed in her face. And honestly, it took everything in me not to laugh at my sister because the story she gave me reads like a crappy porn plot. But my sister wouldn't lie to me, so now I'm conflicted. And now she's gone and told a bunch of mutual friends who are telling me that the proof all points to her cheating on me. The proof is so full of holes that no one would ever believe it. But the person telling me this is one of the most important people in my life. But another person incredibly important to me is telling me that the story isn't true. What the heck do I do?
Storytime on how I caught my 76-year-old grandpa sleeping with my 14-year-old daughter. Okay, so boom, let's jump right into it. So one day my grandpa came over to see my family. My husband was at work, so it was only me and my daughter. My daughter is 14, my grandpa is 76, and I'm 39. After my grandpa visited, the next day he came back to take my daughter out to eat. They left at 5 p.m. and came back at 12 a.m. And when they came back home, my daughter wanted my grandpa to go in the room with her. So he went upstairs with her, and naturally I found that very suspicious. Cause I mean, like, that's weird. My grandpa slept over that night, and the next day I asked them if they wanted to come visit my best friend with me. Both my grandpa and my daughter said no, but while they were in the kitchen, I put a camera in her room and in the living room. I left, and not even 10 minutes went by and I saw everything. Part Part 2 on how I caught my 76-year-old grandpa sleeping with my 14-year-old daughter. Okay, so boom, like I said, I got suspicious and I put a camera in my daughter's room and in my living room. I left, and in less than 10 minutes, I look at the cameras and I saw everything. I quickly drove back home, and I was speeding, child. While I was driving back, I screenshotted the camera of my grandpa on top of my daughter while they were both naked. I busted down my house door and I heard moaning. I ran into the room and I kicked my grandpa in the nuts. And I beat my daughter's ass. I called her dad, who came less than 5 minutes after me. While my husband handled my grandpa, I sat with my daughter and she told me that he was taking advantage of her, that he forced himself on her. She's now in therapy and he's in jail. Watch out for pervy Gramps.
I'm the bad guy for refusing to lend my sister money. I'm 28 and I've always been very careful with my money. I save as much as I can and I rarely make really big purchases. My sister's 32 and on the other hand is quite impulsive when it comes to spending. She often buys things she cannot afford and comes for me for help. Last week she called me and asked to borrow $5,000 to pay off some credit card debt, and I told her I didn't feel comfortable loaning her that much money since she still owes money to me from the last time. My sister is furious and has accused me of being selfish and greedy. She said I was the only one in the family that she had and would be willing to help her out in her time of need. I understand that family is important, but I don't think it's fair to me to be responsible for my sister's poor financial decisions. I work hard for my money and I don't want to risk losing it and lending it to someone who may not be even able to pay it back. After the argument, my sister has been ignoring my texts and calls. Our relationship has always been strained, but I feel like this situation may have made it even worse. I'm wondering if I should have just given in and helped her, even if it meant putting my own financial security at risk. So was I the bad guy in this situation?
My mother-in-law moved in with my husband and I 6 months ago. Now, a little background story. I've been married to my husband for 3 years and we have a 2-year-old boy together. Between my husband and I bring in more income. I make almost 70% more money than he does. Despite this, I still love and respect him with all my heart. He's a good man and he treats me right. The house we are staying in right now is my house. I built this house with my hard-earned cash a year after we got married. My husband tries his best and I know he would have contributed to the building of the house if he had money. Now, his family members, especially his mom, think he's the one taking care of me and my child. They even think he was the one who built the house. I never really tried to correct them because I didn't want to put my husband on the spot. As long as what they are thinking is not harming anyone, why not? I wanted them to see my husband as a resourceful man too. Now, my mother-in-law has never really liked me. Even though she doesn't say it openly, she always looks at me with so much dislike. Before she moved in with us, she used to live in the village with her husband, but he died last year, and she claims everything in the house reminded her of him. She said she was also lonely and she wanted to be close to her grandson. When my husband asked if her mom could move in, I didn't really like the idea at first. This was a woman who clearly doesn't like me, and I felt living with her was going to create a lot of issues. But he begged and asked me to give her a chance. I didn't want it to be as if I was being difficult because the house was mine, so I agreed. Now, since this woman moved in, she uses every opportunity she gets to talk down on me. There's always something wrong with my food, the way I'm bringing my child up, and the state of the house. She says I sleep too much and that I'm gaining too much weight. Like I said, everything is an issue with her. Despite all this, I'm trying to bear with her because of my husband. She is slowly becoming unbearable to live with. So I planned on renting an apartment for her and my husband's little sister, who currently doesn't have anywhere to stay and is staying with her friend. The main reason why she left the village was because she was lonely. So I was thinking putting her in the same apartment with her daughter would give her some company. It will also take her out of my house so that I'll have my peace of mind. Now, I had not told my husband this plan yet, but I wanted to do it in such a way that it will be as if it was my husband renting the apartment for them. Now, 2 days ago, I had left to work early because I was having an headache. I was about to enter into the house when I heard some voices in the living room. I just don't know why, but something told me to stop and listen. It was my husband and his mom having a heated conversation. So my mother-in-law was telling my husband I was not wife material and that she doesn't even know why he married me. She said I was dirty and disorganized. She said I'm lazy and that the only thing I do is sleep after work. My food is not tasty and I'm spoiling her grandson. She says she has someone perfect for her son waiting in the village. If he sends me packing that same day, the other woman will be here the next day. All he has to do is ask. I can't say I was very surprised with the things she was saying. She has always been a bitter woman and I knew she has never liked me. I was very happy when my husband came to my defense and told his mom to take his mouth out of our marriage. He told her he was very content with me and that she should mind her own business. I was about to enter into the house and I heard her tell my husband that if he doesn't want to divorce me, me he should at least take my name off the title of the house. She said he should use his name and his son's name only. She said she doesn't trust me and that I can take the house from him anytime I want because she has seen a woman do it to a man in a movie. She said she knew her son had worked hard to build the house and that she doesn't want all his hard work to be in vain. I didn't even wait for my husband to respond. I charged into the house and asked her to pack her things and leave the house that very day. She started laughing and she told me I don't have the power and the authority to kick her out. She said the house belonged to her son and that she will stay in the house till the day she dies. I chuckled and told her to ask her son who the house really belonged to. She turned to her son and I could see her face gradually change when she realized the truth. She started stammering. She didn't know what to say anymore. She quietly went upstairs to pack her things and then I ordered Uber to take her back to her village. My husband started begging me to give his mom another chance. But this time around, I said no. How can I stay in the same house with someone who hates me this much? I'm scared she will even poison me at this point. Now, he is saying I would not have made that decision if the house belonged to both of us. He says I'm making him feel worthless as a man. I'm scared of his mom at this point and I can't stay in the same house with her. He says his mom will not do anything to harm me, but how will I really know? I told him I will only be at peace once she leaves the house. So she left the house that same night. Things have never really been the same since between my husband and I. Am I the asshole? This follower needs your opinions, babes. Please drop some below.